So now as the call gets underway, we'll start things off with first Alabama A&M and head coach James Spady. His team fell to Mississippi Valley State. His team defeated Mississippi Valley State, and they will host Grambling State for a kickoff at 2 p.m. this coming Saturday. Good morning, Coach Spady. Are you with us?
I'm with you, yes. Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about your battle with Mississippi Valley State and talk about playing at home this week against Grambling.
Well, playing at Mississippi Valley State, we all week we were scared to death. I mean, this is a football team that's got a lot of good talent. Obviously, Coach Comegy understands how to put that talent in place, and so we stressed it all week. We wanted to make sure that we did the things that were fundamentally sound, that we block and tackle and run well. And, we came out on the winning side. I tell you, winning is not easy, and so anytime you can get that done, it feels pretty good. So we're carrying a lot of confidence into our first home game, which, is another uncomfortable situation because Grambling's riding high. We're going to have to play well to have success against them, but we're eager to get home after being on the road for 5 weeks in a row. We're eager to get home and play in front of our crowd. It's going to be a really interesting night. It'll be my first home game as a head football coach. It'll be my first homecoming, and we're looking forward to the experience.
Questions now for Alabama A&M head football coach James Spady. Please remember to use the command *6 to unmute your phone.
Coach Spady, Aurelia Washington here. Against Mississippi Valley, I noticed that you had a different type of running back, Harvey Harris. Kind of talk about Harvey Harris and what he did against Valley.
Well, Harvey's been with us all season. He's run the ball in several other games, but he had a breakout performance for us. He had over 100 yards rushing. I don't remember the exact stats, but he had over 100 yards rushing. He was able to really kind of assert himself, and that's what we're looking for from our young football players. He's a freshman. He's brand new, and, you want to see guys like that have success, but it bodes well for the future, and we feel really good about Harvey.
Now, also against Valley, your special teams, picked up, especially with Octavius Mile. He broke the school record for the longest kickoff return. Kind of talk about your special teams.
It was a concerted effort for us coming in to improve our special teams. We've got, so far this season, we've had a punt return for a touchdown, and now we've had a kickoff return for a touchdown. We need to have our coverage teams be a little bit more consistent, and then we will feel good about the improvement that we've made. Every game we get just a little bit closer to our goal, and that is just to be sound in special teams, be able to do some explosive things. And I love the fact that Coach Cummings is our special teams coordinator. He has a very innovative mindset when it comes to special teams and putting our guys in position for success, and we like the effort that we're getting so far.
Still taking questions for James Spady, head coach at Alabama A&M. Coach, oftentimes you talk about getting off to a good start, and looks like you guys started pretty quick, 21 first quarter points.
Yeah, and then, that's been kind of an Achilles heel to this point. You want to always come out, put pressure on the other team, and, so far this season we hadn't been able to do that consistently. They went down, and it was a really kind of touchy, scary situation because they went down and they shoved the ball down our throats their first series. And I said, boy, it's going to be a long day. And we settled in defensively and started to exert ourselves, and then we did the same thing. We followed suit on offense, and we were able to put up the 21 points there in the first half, and then come out the second half, and you just want to, continue to exert yourself. And so we were able to do what our goals were this week.
Mississippi Valley State was 4 of 16 on third down conversions. Coach, you give yourself a pretty good chance to win if you're getting off the field on third down that much.
And, that was a point of emphasis during the week. And it's, it's ironic when you focus on something and when you work on something, it's ironic how easily, or not easily, but it's ironic how the results can come out positive. And that's something that we focused on during the course of the week. We felt like we needed to be better getting off the field on defense and converting those third downs on offense, and I think we were better.
Coach, David Perkins with Sheridan Broadcasting. How are you?
Hi, David. I'm good, thanks.
Wanted to ask you about the game this week with Grambling State. The Tigers have won 2 straight, and looks like Barlow Fobbs is getting that program together. What are your thoughts on Grambling right now?
I'm scared to death. Anytime you face Grambling, first of all, it's going to be a tough football game. And they're riding high. They're experiencing some success. And be very honest with you, they're going to be a formidable homecoming opponent. But you know what? It's really back to exactly what we emphasize every week. We just got to play better fundamental football. We got to run, block, tackle, catch, throw, et cetera, and it doesn't matter who the opponent is. With all due respect to Grambling, we've just got to be better at Alabama A&M at the things we do well and improve the things we don't do well.
And this will be, as you mentioned, homecoming, your first homecoming as head coach. What are you looking forward to with homecoming?
I'm looking forward to just being able to play at our stadium. We've practiced at our stadium. We've had a spring game at our stadium, but I've never had a Saturday in the fall at our stadium, and I'm really excited about that opportunity. The fact that it's homecoming just kind of ramps it up just a little bit more. Everybody's expecting you to win, and that hasn't been lost in translation. That's going to definitely be the focus as we take the practice field this week.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
We have about 2 minutes left for the segment with James Spady, head coach at Alabama A&M.
Coach Spady, good morning to you. Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting. How are you?
Good morning, Ty. I'm good, thank you.
From the first game in the SWAC Challenge, what have you learned about your team? And do you have the team that you thought you would have at this point of the season? Because most of the time they say coaches learn about their teams within the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So can you assess what team you have right now, and is it the team you think you'll have throughout the season?
That's a great question, because every week you kind of wonder which group of guys is going to show up. We work really hard at making sure our guys understand that they're going to be held accountable. We talk about everybody doing their 1/11th. The kind of team that we've got right now, they're a high-effort team. I don't have any problem with everybody's effort. They're going to give everything they've got. This team does not save anything for the swim back. That is evident. But what you got to get is you got to get a team that makes smart decisions. And we don't always do that, but that's part of the growth process, and we understand that this is all a process. And so we're going to go one game at a time, try and get better a little bit every day, and that's kind of what you would expect with a young football team. We're getting about what we expected to get. We knew that, we're playing somewhere in the neighborhood of 22, 23 newcomers, freshmen, guys who haven't played before. We're playing a lot of young kids. And we kind of knew there was going to be some growing pains. It is the group that I thought it would be. I thought that they would grow as the season went, and that's exactly where we're going. I wish we were making fewer mistakes, but, again, it's part of the process, and you get a chance to learn from those mistakes.
And finally, Coach, you talked about the process. What's been the most surprising aspect for you as a head coach on your first go-around?
Well, the willingness for this football team who, when I got here in the spring, I didn't know any of these kids. And we were able to add a full recruiting class to a group of guys who were eager to have success. And the biggest surprise has been their willingness to follow me and my coaching staff. We've come in, and they didn't know us from Adam, but these guys are willing to listen to us, and they're willing to put the things that we put in place into action. And I've just seen that grow every day that we've come out, been able to practice and play and that kind of thing. And I've seen it grow. And this is a really good coaching staff. If those guys will listen to these guys, they're going to be nothing but better. I promise you that.
Coach, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to talking with you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That's James Spady, head football coach at Alabama A&M. His team is 2-3 overall. They are 1-1 in conference play, and they will host Grambling State at 2 p.m. this Saturday. Next up on the call is Alabama State head coach Reggie Barlow, whose team defeated Texas Southern. They will travel to Alcorn State. They're in Lorman, Mississippi, for a 6:30 kickoff on ESPN Thursday night. His team is 4-1 overall, and they are 3-0 in conference play. Good morning, Coach Barlow. How are you?
Good morning. Doing good. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about this battle with Alcorn State, and obviously if you could recap your victory over Texas Southern as well.
Well, our game here against Texas Southern was another opportunity for us to be home. I tell you, we've been here the entire month of September every weekend, so it was kind of like the finale for the month of September. Playing our last home game here for a while, and our fans were out. Our students were very involved in the game, and I thought our coaches did a good job of game plan to give our student athletes an opportunity to go out and play well. We were able to rush the ball with Malcolm Cyrus and Khalid Thomas and a couple other guys. Got a couple big plays from DeMario Bell. Defensively, our guys were combative and did some good things. Obviously, every game there's a lot of things that you see that you definitely know you got to improve on. So we're just looking forward to this week to try to improve on those things, although we don't have a lot of days to practice. We play a game Thursday, so you're talking about today, tomorrow, and we travel Wednesday against a really good team that, just playing lights out. They are dominating the teams that they have played. Had a wonderful opportunity to beat a Southern Miss team who's a FBS school, but a really good team, very well coached, a team that has been together. A lot of them are returning and preseason all-SWAC guys, made all-SWAC last year, so you're talking about a huge challenge on Thursday night, hostile environment on the road. Got our work cut out for us.
Our questions now for Alabama State head coach Reggie Barlow.
Good morning, Coach. David Perkins with Sheridan Broadcasting.
Howdy.
I wanted to ask you about Alcorn's two outstanding backs, Anthony Williams III and Darian Ragsdale, who both rushed for well over 100 yards over the weekend. Your thoughts on that backfield?
Yeah, our coaches and I, we had our staff personnel meeting where we talk about the opposing team, and out of that meeting, of course, came the same raise and reviews that you're mentioning. Ragsdale is a very strong. He's a leading rusher over there. He runs the ball hard. Williams is also another nice-sized kid that runs the ball hard, and it's they lost Arnold last year, who I just thought was just an outstanding football player, and it just shows you the great job that they're doing recruiting. When you lose Arnold, Walker, I think Arnold last name was, and then you come back with Ragsdale and Williams. So two really solid backs. Guys run the ball really hard, and of course they got some other guys that runs the ball over there as well. 36 is a nice size running back. So just a real solid group of runners that they have there.
Coach, thank you.
Yep.
So taking questions for Reggie Barlow, head coach at Alabama State.
Coach
Barlow.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ty.
From Sheridan Broadcasting. How much better do you need to be against the team this week, against Alcorn State, than you were against Texas Southern last week?
Well, Alcorn is I mean, they're a real solid team. They do a lot of different things on defense that can really cause problems. I mean, they run an odd front and they move around a lot of guys, bring a lot of pressure. Offensively, they're very creative in what they do offensively. So you just have to, be disciplined and maintain a gap integrity. And if you're supposed to be in the A gap, you need to be there. And if it's not in the A gap, then it's somebody else's play to make. And just being disciplined with our eyes and focusing up on our assignment. But those are the things that we definitely have to be better at.
Being that it's a short week, Coach, do you go back to anything that took place in the game last year against Alcorn State, or do you just rely on what's going on this year?
I mean, obviously you go back and you kind of see how they game plan you and some of the things that they ran that was successful. I would imagine, if there was a play or two or zone dog blitz or something that worked well for them, I would imagine they would go back and, try to use those things. So, obviously, we go back and watch that one. We watch, all the other games that they played this year. Obviously, it's a different year, but, obviously when you have the coordinator still in place, you can go back and kind of see some things. But this is a really, really good team. Coach Hobbs has done a great job there, Jay. He's just building the program the right way, and obviously it's a real good program, and I can't say enough about the talent that they've accumulated there.
Coach, on a personal note, I want to ask you about having that number 8 retired at Sidney Linear High School in Montgomery. Can you talk about that and how that made you feel?
It's a blessing. Obviously, whenever you get some type of notoriety like that, it's a great accomplishment for me. But similar to what I told the people there, it's so much about the other people that helped me to be the person that I was there and the person that I am now, and that's my brothers. And my brothers made me competitive, and my mom, who was a single-parent mom that worked 3 jobs to provide, refused to be on the system. About my dad, who still encouraged and stood strong for her. So I was happy for them. It's more or less their award than mine, but thanks for asking.
Coach Luke Williams on the Black College Sports page. You said that Alcorn State's playing lights out. How would you? I would think that you've almost matched them in terms of the way you've been dominating your opponents.
Well, we've had some success in some areas in regards of our defense did some things positive, but we've messed up a lot too. We've given up way too much in the passing game and just hadn't been as challenging on the perimeter as we'd like to be. But there, like I said, we ran the ball well offensively, but there's still some things that we have to clean up. We've missed out on a lot of deep balls that we've had opportunities to get. So just a lot of room for improvement. But Alcorn, they are. I mean, they're dominating. I mean, from the first game to this last game, they just played against a really good Southern team, the defending SWAC champs, and of course we know they've always had great tradition and pride and a good team. So this is a really good team in all 3 phases, and you got to go on the road and play against a team that's riding high and doing some good things. So we got our work cut out for us.
Well, people, if you look at the ebb and flow, this looks like you 2 teams are playing the best in the conference. You both defeated the teams, I think, that were at the top of the West in terms of your win over Texas Southern, who was undefeated, their win over the defending champion. What about this being a kind of a preview of if not the overall champion, at least the East Division champion?
Well, I think it's too early to really, say that. I haven't seen Alabama A&M, and I haven't seen Jackson play, but I think both of those guys won this weekend, and although they hadn't played Southern or Texas Southern, it's just hard to say. I mean, I think it's good to see that we got some teams in the East that are, sitting with good records and all, but I just think it's a good challenge for us. It's a big game for us, and it's on the road, and it's a short week. So I just think that's really what it is, as opposed to because there's still a long season and there's so much that can happen. But we just got to keep the main thing. See a little, see a lot. See a lot, see nothing. So our focus is on just Alcorn and how we can kind of challenge them and try to get a victory.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us this week. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Right on. Thanks.
Thanks. That's Reggie Barlow, head coach at Alabama State University. His team, again, will kick things off at Alcorn State at 6:30 on ESPNU. Next up on the call, we go to Jackson State University, and Harold Jackson. His team won in overtime against Arkansas at Pine Bluff. They are now 3-2 overall and 1-1 in conference play. They will host Prairie View A&M for a 6 p.m. kickoff. Good morning, Coach Jackson. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. How you doing?
Just fine, Coach. If you could talk about that overtime victory over Arkansas Pine Bluff and preview the Panthers of Prairie View.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a tough ball game for us. We went in that ball game. We thought we were prepared, and the players came out and played pretty good in the first quarter. I think we jumped up about 21 points there in the first half, and they started easing back on us. They started coming back. But when you play a quarterback the way Ben Anderson, he's about 6'3", 200 pounds, I tell you what, those are the kind of quarterback you don't like to face, because the one thing they'll do, they'll tear your defense down, because he really wore our defensive line down and put a lot of pressure on them. So he kept a lot of pressure on us the whole time, and we got into overtime, and unfortunately enough, we was able to pull it out in overtime, and so we just don't want to meet a quarterback like that anymore, because that kind of quarterback will kill you any day. Like I said, we coming up with Prairie View this week, and I know right now Prairie View is 0-4, but that 0-4 don't mean anything, because Grambling came in here, it was they was 0-3 when they came in, and they came in and beat us. But what we got to do, we just got to play mistake-free football. If we go in a ball game and don't turn the ball over, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. And so that's the thing that we just got to work on, and we just got to hone in with our players. We got to be disciplined when it comes to that. So we should be okay, we hope anyway. So we just got to go out and get prepared for this team.
The floor is now open for Jackson State head coach Harold Jackson. Coach, again, you talked about getting off to a really hot start, and then all of a sudden we were in overtime. Talk about what happened late in that football game.
Well, like our defense really was putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback early in that game, and so, but he got to the point where he started pulling the ball down and started running with it, like I said, we thought we was going to corral him in there and kind of hem him in. And it's hard to really put a spy on him, because like I said, you don't know where he's coming from, because he'll find that lane somewhere. So what we try to do, we try to fill the lanes that he had to go outside, and that's what he done. He got on the outside. Some of our guys didn't play the defense the way they should have been playing. They should have been playing a little bit wider and try to bring him back inside. But he got outside that, and that was the thing that he kept pulling that ball down, because I think he must have had about 25 carries in that ball game for about 125 yards. And so you get your quarterback moving the ball around like that and running with it like that, it's going to wear your team down. So that's what happened. It kind of got our team a little rested there. And so what I had to do was call timeout a couple of times, so it kind of give those guys a little bit of break there. So they was huffing and puffing. So we got out of that ball game in overtime, so we was fortunate enough to get out of there.
Still taking questions for Harold Jackson, head coach at Jackson State.
Coach Jackson, talk about the play of your quarterback and how big that overtime touchdown run was.
Well, I'll tell you, that's the thing that I had to talk to him all last week, because he was really down on himself, after that ball game against Grambling, because like I said, when you turn the ball over 5 times in a ball game and that would beat you in a day. You know, we had almost 480 yards in that particular ball game, but he had a fumble, then he had an interception. Grambling took back for a touchdown, and those things to weigh you down. And so he thought that he was the problem, you know, of that ball game. So, but I had to get in his ear and tell him, don't even worry about that. And like I tell all my players, don't look in that rearview mirror. We're just looking straight ahead. We're looking forward from here on in. He had a good ball game for us, you know. We went in that ball game, and like I said, we talked about no turnovers. He had no turnovers in that game, and he didn't have no interception in that ball game. So, but he used his legs a lot, you know. It kept the change going, and that was one of the biggest things there. Because, like I said, and then you know, our rushing game, we kind of picked that up a little bit because that was one of the things that I wanted to do, to try to keep our defense off the field. And so we did keep the defense off the field a little bit, but not as much as we wanted to. I think we ran the ball probably for about 28 times and had about 168 yards there. I think we had about only 15 first downs in that particular ball game. We had 9 rushing and 6 pass. So the quarterback, like I say, kept moving the chains on us, so that was a good thing there. And I was glad to see that happen for him because, like I keep telling everybody, this young man is just a freshman. He had not played until this year. So, but he's doing a good job for us.
Coach Jackson, how you doing? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Doing great, sir. Look, you had a big block on the special teams with Kwame Bowens. Explain the big play of your special teams and how often you guys are working to develop that particular part of your team.
Well, you know what? That's one of the things that we don't take our special team for granted. We say that that's one of the biggest part of our team. You know, like offense and defense and special team is a big phase. We put just as much time in our special team as we do in the offense and defense. So that's one of the things that we work diligently every day. We have 2 sessions, 2 periods where we just do special team. And, you know, it paid off for us because, like I said, we saw some things on film, and then we feel like we had opportunity, had a chance to really get to one, and then we did. And thank God we picked it up and went for the score.
Still taking questions for Harold Jackson, head coach at Jackson State. Coach, all of your road games are definitely tough environments, but talk about this one at Prairie View.
Well, we're home with Prairie View, and you know, I know Prairie View coming in here 0-4, but I tell you what, they got a good ball club. And their quarterback is almost about the same size we just played, and we just hope he's not as active as, you know, not as athletic as the one that we just end up with, because those kind of quarterbacks will beat you all in a day, you know. And so what they do, they really tear your defense down. But Prairie View's coming in here. They got defense. They got about 5 freshmen, I think, coming in here on that defensive side of the ball. And I think on the left corner, I think he's a freshman. He plays real good at that corner spot. And they got a quarterback, like I said, 6'5", about 200 pounds, Jerry Lovelock. And he gets around, he moves around, he throws the ball pretty good. So he's a guy that we got to really defense on him, because, like I said, we hope he don't come in here and be like the same quarterback we just played. Like I said, they lost some tough games with, I think, with Texas Southern. I think McNeese State, they played there, and they played Division's SWAC champ, Southern U, and then just end up with Grambling this week. So we got our hands cut out for us, so we just got to be ready to go and play.
Do we have any more questions for Harold Jackson? Coach, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Thank you.
Harold Jackson and his team is 3-2 and 1-1 in the conference. And again, they will host Prairie View A&M at 6 p.m. this coming Saturday. Next up on the call, we go to Arkansas at Pine Bluff and Monte Coleman. His team lost to Jackson State in overtime. They are 1-3 overall and 0-2 in league play. They travel to Baton Rouge to face Southern University for a 5:30 p.m. kickoff. Good morning, Coach Coleman. How are you?
I'm okay. Considering.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about the overtime loss to Jackson State and preview Southern University.
Well, definitely was a hard-fought football game from the beginning to the end. We were able to come back from a deficit of 21 points, and by end of game, actually second half, limit Jackson State, which is a real good football team. My congratulations again to Coach Jackson for the victory. Very hard football game, but I thought our team, we did a lot of good things. We did some bad things also. We didn't get it accomplished on special teams. We had a field goal blocked for a touchdown. That hurt us a lot. We had a blown assignment on defense for a long touchdown pass. I think it was 68 yards. Touchdown pass on a blown coverage. That hurt us. And, but overall, I thought the kids played extremely hard. They played well. A couple of mistakes early on in the ball game that they came back to haunt us. We had one judgment call by the officials. We looked at the film. It looked as if it was a touchdown. They didn't give us a touchdown. I think that's reason for us in the SWAC to strongly consider us getting instant replay here in the SWAC for plays like that. I mean, did it cost us a ball game? Maybe yes, maybe no, because there was other opportunities for us to possibly win the game. But it was a hard-fought football game. We're putting that behind us today, getting ready for Southern. We will be traveling to Baton Rouge to play them on homecoming. And they're playing well. They're running the football well. And it's going to be a tough match from here on out for us. So we just got to bandage ourselves up and get ready to go.
Floor is now open for Monte Coleman, head coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Hey, Coach, I see. How you doing?
Good, I see.
Ben Anderson gets SWAC Offensive Player of the Week, and although it wasn't in a victory, I mean, he rebounded beautifully from the Alabama State game. Aside from just being able to connect with his guys better, what did you see better in his play from last week? And did you see a sense that the guys are understanding the pro-style offense a lot better, and that allows you guys to really compete against Jackson State?
Well, I thought Ben managed the game real well. He took what Jackson State gave us. If there was opportunities for him to run with the football, there was opportunities for him. He took those opportunities. There were some call runs by Coach Jones. He took and ran those well. He threw the ball a whole lot better, I see, than he did against Alabama State. For whatever reason, he didn't change anything. We didn't change anything. He just threw the ball, the deep ball. He threw the short ball. He threw the ball a whole lot better. And I think the receivers, I know the receivers played faster, which gave him those opportunities. So, I thought Ben managed the game. I didn't know he was the offensive player of the week. He had a good job throwing the football and had a good job rushing the football. And combinedly, we had almost close to 500 yards of total offense. So it was a good day for the offense, both receiving and rushing the football. The young man, Hanley, ran the ball well for us along with Ben. So we had over 200 yards rushing and over 200 yards passing. So it was a good day for the offense.
Yeah. The play that you reviewed and you said it appeared to be a touchdown. Do you have any plans to show the SWAC office maybe the play to see if anything can be changed from that play?
Yes. Now, I don't think anything can be changed from it. Of course, once the game's over, it's over. But, yes, sir, I am going to give Mr. Mitchell a call and have him to review it just for common courtesy, just to show him. But, yeah. I think we do need instant replay in the SWAC. I think it would help not just my team, but all the teams when we have close calls like that. It's a judgment thing by the officials, and we all know that. But if we had the instant replay, it would help us in some cases.
Right. The field goal protection, and, I mean, that was like the second time this season Tyler had a kick block, and then that one was taken back for a touchdown. That was a factor in the game. How do you strengthen your field goal protection?
Well, I was listening to Coach Jackson's comments about the game, and we spend a lot of time on special teams throughout the week preparing for all of our games. They get equally amount because we look at it in three phases also: offense, defense, and special teams. Special teams is not viewed as a stepchild. It's actually one of the childs. We spend a lot of time with it. Unfortunately, Barry, who was the wingman, he just didn't block the outside guy for whatever reason, and it cost him. But we'll continue to leave him there, and we'll continue to work on it. And he sees the importance of it, like we've stressed throughout the year, and hopefully we'll get the job done.
Yeah, right. I got to ask you this: did any players, because I'm pretty sure the 9 days before the Jackson State game, you had emphasized on the discipline of your team. Did any players from the Alabama State game get suspended for the Jackson State game?
No.
Okay.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't have any incidents in the Alabama State game for suspension.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Still talking things over with Monte Coleman, head coach of Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Coach, good morning.
Coach.
David Perkins with Sheridan Broadcasting.
Hey, Mr. Perkins. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Wanted to ask you about the Southern matchup for this week, and it'll be your first division game. Do you look at it being in the first division game sort of gives your team a fresh start, or to get back on track?
Well, we look at it two ways. We do look at it as a fresh start because this is our first West game, Division West side game. Even though, it's going to count overall the two games that we lost on the East, but we still have a chance. And that's what I'll explain to them from a systematic standpoint, that we've got to win these West games, and we still will have a chance possibly at the end when it's all said and done to make it to the championship game. And ultimately that's our goal, is to make it to the championship game. So, yes, sir, it is kind of a fresh start for us because this is our first West game. Even though the other two hurt, we can still achieve our goal if we just take care of our business on the West side.
All right. Thanks very much.
Coach James Barrett from Cox Sports in Louisiana. Just want to know, as this rivalry has intensified over the past 5 or 6 years, have you had a windfall of recruits from Louisiana as a byproduct of it?
I'm not sure. We recruit Louisiana heavily. I'm not sure if it's because of the rival between any of the Louisiana schools, but we'll continue, and I have always recruited the Louisiana schools. And if it's because we win a football game and they want to come to us, then that's fine. Or if they just want to come because of historic reasons, because mama and dad or aunt or uncle or somebody have come, then that's fine also. But we'll continue to recruit the Louisiana schools because we know there's a lot of great talent, And in a lot of cases, the kids in Louisiana want to come to Pine Bluff, and a lot of the kids in Pine Bluff want to go to Louisiana. They just want to get out of their hometown for something fresh. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why we do get kids from different locations.
Do you have any more questions for Coach Coleman at Arkansas Pine Bluff?
Coach, when you look at Southern's offense, do you look at it as they're a run-first team or they're well-balanced?
Well, right now, when I look at it, and from a 3-game breakdown, they'll run first team. They're going to run the football, and they're running it very effectively. They'll put the 2 tight ends in, and they'll run to the strong side. They've got a very good running back. He's a downhill runner. Got great speed, good vision, and good balance. So from my perspective, it looks like they want to run the football and play that smash mouth type football from my perspective.
Coach Coleman?
Yes.
This is Will Weathers with the Advocate in Baton Rouge. How you doing?
I'm good.
Doing a story on Willie Young, and I just want to kind of get some insight from you. And this being his second year with, or I guess third year in the program, but just obviously his role is going to be changed. Maybe more of a go-to guy. He had a really big game for you last week, and just kind of want to talk a little bit about the guy that you kind of brought in the program, and now maybe you've seen him take a step in the direction of maybe becoming your featured guy possibly.
Well, Willie, since he's played, even as a true freshman when he played for us, he's been that go-to guy, and he's starting to really buy into it. He's starting to mature a lot more, and he's getting better and better. Had a real good game, had over 100 yards receiving, I think 6 catches with 101 yards this past week against Jackson State. Kid's got great speed. When he gets the ball, he's very explosive with the ball. But he's definitely a big part of our package and a go-to guy. So each game it's important for us to try to get the ball in Willie Young's hand so that he can do the things that he does best, and that's run with the football.
We're out of time, Coach. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll look forward to talking with you on next Monday.
We'll talk next Monday. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That's Monte Coleman, head coach at Arkansas at Pine Bluff. His team again travels to face Southern University for 5:30 p.m. kickoff. His team is 1-3 overall, and they are 0-2 in conference play. Next up on the call, we go to Grambling State University and talk things over with Broadrick Fobbs. His team defeated Prairie View A&M this past weekend, and they will travel to Huntsville, Alabama to face Alabama A&M. Grambling is now 2-3 overall and 2-0 in Southwestern Athletic Conference play. Good morning, Coach Fobbs.
Good morning. How you doing?
That's fine, Coach. Thanks for joining us. And if you could talk about your victory over Prairie View and also discuss your travel to Alabama A&M.
Well, I thought it was a great environment for our student athletes to play in. Anytime you have an opportunity to play in a venue such as the Cotton Bowl and play against a well-coached Prairie View A&M football team, it's always good to compete. I thought, we started a little bit flat, and I think Prairie View had something to do with that. I thought they had a great plan and did a great job of moving the football on us in the first half. But I thought our kids kind of regrouped, the second half and did a great job of settling down. They dominated the time of possession the first half, but then the second half, we dominated the time of possession. But we were able to move the ball, run the football effectively and efficiently, and then also throw the football with the same level of success. So it was great to win the football game. It was also great to win it with our third-string quarterback, who, in our opinion, is not necessarily a third-string quarterback. We were just fortunate to have 3 guys that can actually play. But we're excited about what we did this past weekend. It was good to come out with a victory because, anytime you play in this conference, week in and week out, you're going to get, a tough and worthy opponent. So we're just excited to come out with a victory and be 2-0 in conference. Getting ready to play Alabama A&M. Coach Spady is a heck of a football coach, a personal friend of mine. We know that he's going to have his kids ready to play, and they're going to be fundamentally sound and play extremely hard. So there's a task, ahead for us, and we know that we got to be playing our best football when we go into Huntsville this weekend.
The floor is now open for Broadrick Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State University.
Coach Fobbs, how you doing? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Hi, Mr. Prince. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Congratulations on your win. First of all, what's the status report on DJ Williams?
Well, we don't talk about injuries, but everyone knows that he got nicked up on Saturday's contest. You can actually see that, but it's not something that's season ending. So we'll be having him back here soon.
Okay, that's fair enough. Coach, I want to go later on in the game. You went for a 2-point conversion, which almost came back to haunt you. What was the rationale behind that at the time?
Well, it wasn't supposed to be a 2-point conversion. There was a mistake on the field. We were shifting to a swinging gate field goal, and we were supposed to get a look from the actual quarterback to let him know what to do. And he, we're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids, and he took it upon himself to do something that we did not want to do. So that's I take total blame for that. I don't put that on the kid. That's totally my fault because it's my job not to put him in that position.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Still taking questions for Broadrick Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State. Coach, talk about defensively, third down again, 3 of 17 on third down efficiency for you guys defensively. You got to be pleased with that.
Yes, very much so. I think we're starting to come together as a defense. We did a good job early on stopping the run, and we were having some concerns with our pass defense. But I think that we've done a good job of adjusting and really understanding where our eyes are supposed to be in the secondary, and we've done a better job here lately of playing total defense, which is good. And it's also good, to win in the turnover column as well.
Do you have any more questions for Broadrick Fobbs, Grambling State head coach? Still about 3 minutes left in his segment. Coach Jerry Lovelock is a solid player in this conference, and you threw the ball nearly 40 times for 239 yards, but you kept him out of the end zone. Just what did you get out of it? Just what did you see from him this past weekend?
Well, we knew that he could throw the football, and we wanted to make sure that we tried our best to not let him sit back there and be comfortable in the pocket. And we try to mix in a little bit of zone and man, but just kind of mix things up a little bit, but also keep him off balance and bring some pressure, right at him because, you allow that big guy to sit back there and throw the football. He can spin it with the best of them. So we just wanted to make sure we tried to make him a little bit uncomfortable, and we thought the first half he got after us a little bit, but the second half we thought we did a much better job.
Receiving corps productive day as well. You got 6 receptions from Mino and another 8 from Rogers, and a bunch of other guys were able to catch balls from your quarterbacks this past weekend. Talk about your receiving corps.
Well, I think we're progressing. Anytime you go from what these guys have been used to, a 2-back offense to now a spread attack, it's a little bit different for them, and the routes are a little bit different, and it takes some time, to get on the same page, not only for the receiver but also for the quarterback. So we, when you just have 15 days of spring ball and then you go through training camp with them, it's kind of hard to really just change that quickly. So we're excited about the progress that our kids are making. They're continuing to develop and to get better each and every day. So we just got to keep working and keep doing things the right way and keep practicing the right way. And if we do that, and play mistake-free football, we feel we'll have a chance.
Coach, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. That's Broadrick Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State. Again, his team at 2-3 and 2-0 in conference play. They travel to Alabama A&M for a 2 p.m. kickoff this coming Saturday. Next up on the call, we go to Alcorn State University and talk things over with Jay Hampton. His team defeated Southern University, and they will host Alabama State this Thursday on ESPNU. That kickoff is set for 6:30. Jay Hopson's team is 4-1 overall, and they are 2-0 in conference play. Good morning, Coach Hopson. How are you? Do we have Coach Jay Hopson with us? Okay, we will work to try to get Jay Hopson on the call. In the meantime, we will review this past week's scores, starting with Alabama A&M defeating Mississippi Valley State by a final score of 42-20. It was Grambling State over Prairie View A&M by a final score of 26-20. Arkansas at Pine Bluff defeated Southern University. Grambling State 26-20 over Prairie View. Alcorn State defeated Southern University 56-16. Alabama State defeated Texas Southern 38-3, and it was Jackson State over Arkansas Pine Bluff by a final score of 33-30. And do we have Coach Jay Hopson on at this time? Okay, while we're still waiting on Coach Hopson, we'll also review the current standings. We haven't talked about the standings in a while. First, on the Eastern Division, it is Alabama State. They are number one in the Eastern Division with an overall record of 4-1.
2-week homecoming celebration, where we invite the Jaguar Nation to join us. The homecoming celebration kicks off Sunday, September 20th.
We ask that you please not put your phone on hold for various reasons, such as hearing elevator music. And we'll hear whatever you've got playing in your background once you put your phone on hold. We ask that you use the command *6 to mute and unmute your phone. Do we have Coach Hopson with us? Okay, while we're still, I got word that he is calling in now. I think that's him. Do we have Coach Hopson?
Yeah, you got me. I apologize.
No problem, Coach. Thanks for joining us. If you could, big weekend, obviously we can tell a lot going on. If you can, talk about your victory over Southern and preview Alabama State.
Well, it was a nice win. Had a good atmosphere for football, so that was a good pause. I thought we started out a little slow, and then we got into late first quarter, early second quarter. I thought we really did some good things offensively. I thought we ran it and threw the ball well. We had a special team missed assignment there late in the second quarter. They had a big long kickoff, which is something we can't allow to happen, and then we turned the ball over a lot, which is a negative. We gotta limit that. And but I thought in the third quarter, I thought we came back out, and I thought John played a good game. I thought he was good with his reads, and I thought he threw the ball well. I thought our running backs again ran the ball hard, but they've got to hold on to the football. That's something we definitely got to be better at. Defensively, I thought we were pretty fast and physical, but we again. We've got to show up some things assignment-wise, but it was a nice win. And this week, of course, we're playing Alabama State, and Coach Barlow does a great job and an excellent football program. And, we've got to be ready to play because we've got a great opponent coming to town.
All right, questions now for Jay Hopson, head coach at Alcorn State.
Coach Hopson, Donald Ware from the press box to press row. How would you... Yes, sir. How would you assess the play so far of John Gibbs?
I think John has played really good this year. I think he's been consistent. I think I think he just gets better and better each week with his progressions and reads and things. So that's something we've talked about a lot. And I think John, he's our leader, and like I've said each week, he's made a lot of plays for us. And since he's been here, and he's a guy that we look to make plays.
Lastly, when you took over the program really late in the 2012 season, did you think by this, there's still a lot of season left to play, but did you think by this point you would be playing to be possibly the best team in the SWAC?
Well, I think we're all coaches here. We don't probably look that far into the future. That's our objective. that was something a year ago we talked about. I mean, we want to be a program that competes for championships. I mean, that's what our vision is. That's what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? But it's that's our goal every year. Of course, naturally, that first year was kind of a different situation and kind of difficult. But at the end of the day, I think that's pretty much every program's goal. And as a football coach, I think each year is a different year, and that's something that you set your sights on every year.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
How you doing, Coach? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Hey, Mike.
All right. Congratulations on your win. Wanted to follow up. 39 first downs, 11 of 15 on third down efficiency. You have to be overall pleased with the execution of your offense, in particular the running offense. And did you expect to have that great of a day going up against the defending champs?
Well, I thought they did. I thought they played. I thought that we ran the ball hard, and and that's something that I think Anthony Williams and Ragsdale. I mean, they really did. They ran the ball. And we have 3 physical running backs, and that's something that I like. But we also, and I say this every week, we try to balance everything we do. I think John threw for about 250. We try to be balanced, but we've gotten some big runs, and of course, we've been fortunate in a couple games to get up, and we've been, which kind of allows you to run even more, So that's something that, but we did have some big runs that, I thought our running backs ran low and hard, and so hopefully, that's something we can continue to do. And like I said, they played with great effort. They played physical, but again, one thing we met with them about, one thing we got to hold on to the football. We can't lay it on the ground, and we did that way too much on Saturday.
Now, Coach, if you would, kind of walk us through your preparations on a short week and what will you be focusing on as you get ready?
Well, we'll try to treat it as much like a game week as normal. We'll go out today and tomorrow, and we'll try to get a little bit in Wednesday if we can, and then game time. But you just want to you have to be conscious that it is a short week, and so you just have to make sure that everything you got they can digest and get ready to go.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Coach David Perkins with Sheridan Broadcasting. How are you?
Doing good, Dave.
My question is, in your 4 wins, you've scored more than 50 points in each win. Did you expect this kind of offensive output from your team?
Well, I think we kind of that's what we try to do, But it's football's that funny game. I think our offensive staff and I think our players have done a tremendous job. But also I think you have to contribute everything into that, whether it's special teams or defense. I think that's one thing that I always kind of look at the game. Sometimes you might have a 21-16 game and you play great on offense. And, you hold the ball and score, and sometimes you might score 50 and you might have 6 turnovers that allows you to have the ball on the short side of the field. So I think offensively and defensively we've been pretty good in a lot of areas, and of course there's always room to get better. But I think offensively, we've gotten better from last week to this week, and I think again, I thought we executed really well on Saturday, but I think I said there are certain things we certainly have to clean up with. But I think the game kind of, a couple times early in the season we had a couple fumbles or interceptions returned for touchdowns, and those are things that you can't do against really good football teams, and those are the things that we continue to talk about. But I think, John, and one thing that we do have fortunate for us to a degree is our quarterback is getting older, and that always helps. Anytime you're on offense and you start getting a little bit more experience, that's a good thing. And like we mentioned last week, John's been our starter since he was a true freshman here, and I think he's doing a great job. And I think, like I said, I think our receivers are making plays. I think our running backs are running hard, but that's something we have to continue to do in order to be successful.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Coach, they're all big. Is it safe to say that this one is arguably the biggest since your arrival at Alcorn?
Well, I mean, they're all big, and I think that's about the fairest way to say it. I mean, we have a lot of natural rivals, too, that are big games on our schedule every year. and as a football coach and as a football team, we've got to you got to go out and play this like any other game. And that's what it's all about, and so at the end of the day, I think everybody's human. Everybody knows, well, you got two teams right now that are at this point of the season at 1-2 in the East. I mean, that's not like a something that's nobody doesn't know. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying, we got to go out and get ready to play a football game, because I think it, and Alabama State would say the same thing. What I'm saying, at the end of the day, we just got to get out there and go get ready to play.
Coach, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Okay, thanks so much.
That's Jay Hopson, whose team again defeated Southern University this past weekend. They'll play host to Alabama State at 6:30 on ESPNU. This team is 4-1 overall and 2-0 in conference play. That kickoff on ESPNU is set for 6:30. Next up on the call, we go to Mississippi Valley State and talk things over with Rick Comegy, whose team fell to Alabama A&M. They are on the road this weekend in Houston to play Texas Southern for a 7 p.m. kickoff. Mississippi Valley State is 1-4 overall and 0-3 in the SWAC. Good morning, Coach Comegy. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. How are you?
Just fine, Coach. Thanks for asking. If you could talk about this past weekend's game with Alabama A&M and talk about your road trip to Texas Southern.
Well, I thought, coming into the game, I felt real good. I thought that, we can go in there and really compete and do a good job there. But, it just got away from us again. We continue handing away the stick to beat ourselves with, and we can't continue that. They got a good football team. They got a good front four. I think they beat us up in the trenches, where the game is, to me, is really played. And we couldn't, really operate and get some of the things we wanted to get done from an offensive standpoint of view. We got some spurts, but we didn't get any consistency. And I thought that their running backs ran well, and they hit up in there tough. And, it was just a basic scheme, but we just couldn't do anything because I thought they beat us again in the trenches. So we just got to continue working to get better. I think, we have a good enough scheme to win with, but right now we just haven't been able to get, what we're looking for. Thank God, we drew first blood. We got on the board first, which was the first time, all year long. And I thought that we are getting better as a school and as a program. And, I just believe that right now we just got to stay consistent with these guys and, keep loving them up, keep teaching and keep teaching and keep teaching and keep reviewing the review. And I think it's going to pop at least, eventually. But right at this point, we haven't been able to get that W that we're looking for so badly, and hopefully it'll come before this thing is all said and done.
The floor is now open for Rick Comegy, head football coach at Mississippi Valley State. Please use the command *6 to unmute your phone. Coach, the solid and consistent play continues with Julian Stafford. 4 catches, 167 yards, and got in the end zone twice this past weekend. Talk about the play you've gotten out of 85 this year.
Well, he's doing tremendous for us. He's a tremendous football player and doing a great job. We just got to find a way to get him the ball more often, I think. And I think he played out of his slump that he had, I think, a week ago, and he's coming back and doing a fantastic job for us. But we got to put the ball in other hands and keep people a little bit off balance, and we got to be able to run the football a little bit more. And I think when that starts to happen, I think we'll begin gelling as a team, and we just got to keep the defense off the field a little bit longer, and we're working on some of those things. When you're losing, you start thinking about 1,001 things, but you don't want to think of 1,001 things that'll break your team apart. So, you want to, stay consistent in what you're trying to do and to start working. You can't start grab bagging and things of that nature, because this is the time you start grab bagging because, why we're not winning right at this point when you want to get when you want to win a game so badly. And so we're going to stay consistent. We're going to continue working as we were. We're going to continue trying to get the guys better fundamentally. And eventually it'll bust like a pipe. And so we just got to keep feeding until it breaks out. And so, and that's my plan. And hopefully, we'll get that breakout game that we need down the park. We've got a good football team coming up, and Texas Southern, coach is doing a fantastic job down there, and he's putting a lot of points on the board. We got to find a way to keep them off the board so that we can make a football game of this thing, and hopefully we can come out victorious. You just never know.
Still taking questions for Rick Comegy, head football coach at Mississippi Valley State. Coach, James Spady mentioned at the beginning of the call that you guys had a successful drive early in that game running the football and capped off by a 37-yard touchdown run by Peterson. What happened beyond that mark? Because you're talking about trying to improve your run game. What happened beyond that?
Beyond that, I don't think we were able to manage them up front. I think they just got better. As the game went on, they got a good defensive front. We looked at some other films that A&M played, and their defensive front is really live. Now their secondary young, and so you try to attack some of their weaknesses, but their front is really they put a lot of pressure on our quarterback, and we couldn't get some of the things that we needed to do. When we later on in the game, we found out what we thought could hurt them, and we did some of those things, and that's why we got some late touchdowns but at first, their front was just they were dominating us up front.
And perhaps how different of a ball game is it if you don't give up 21 points in the first quarter? I know that was a hole that was created early on.
Absolutely, it would have been a big difference. I really felt that we could, that was a game I felt that we could have taken, but yet and still we didn't. And I don't want to say anything in any negative way about what A&M did. They came in and got what they were looking for and left out of the park. And I felt that that game could have been either way if it would have stayed. We jumped up on them, and if we'd have came out of there instead of throwing the football to one of their defensive linemen, and he scored and make it 7-6, without that score there, and we managed to play a defensive game from there, I think it would have been a different ball game. But we're handing the games away, and we can't do that.
So, Coach, this is Jen. I just want to ask you real quick. Heading from, I know you still have to kind of probably look at film, but as you prepare for Texas Southern, is there anything in particular you guys really need to work on? Well,
I just want to polish it up, as a team. I think we need to continue playing together as a team and understand it's a football game. We can't be, doing things to where, we can't do things to where we feel we can have success over here and not understand that we're in a game. And I think, we got to understand that we're in a game. The more we drive the football, move the chains, the more the defense gets the rest. We got to start playing solid team football instead of side football right now, trying to see who can do what. I think everybody's pressing to try to make big plays. Everybody's pressing to try to make a difference. And we just got to get back to that team format. And we're going to do that this week.
Do you have any more questions for Rick Comegy, head coach at Mississippi Valley State? Thank you very much, Coach, for joining us. We look forward to talking with you on next Monday.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Rick Comegy, whose team again fell to Alabama A&M this past weekend. They are at Houston this weekend to face Texas Southern at 7 p.m. Mississippi Valley State is 1-4 overall, and they are 0-3 in conference play. Next up on the call, we head to Prairie View A&M, and we talk with head coach Heishma, whose team was defeated by Grambling State this past weekend. They are in Jackson, Mississippi, to play against Jackson State for a 6 p.m. kickoff. Prairie View is 0-4 overall and 0-3 in the conference. Good morning, Coach Northern. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Coach, if you could talk about your game with Grambling State and discuss your road trip at Jackson State this coming weekend.
Well, once again, we took one on the chin. and we kept it close, kept it exciting. But at the end of the day, we didn't win the football game. One turnover came back to bite us in the behind parts, as they say, and in order for us to get a win, we have to find a way to not turn the ball over, to create some more explosive plays in the run game or the passing game. But one thing, like I say, our guys kept fighting until the end, until they stopped us on fourth down. After they missed the 2-point conversion, I'm trying to talk to the guys about body language, about have the sit of a winner, have the demeanor of a winner, and we're gonna win this game by 1 point. I thought we were gonna go 98, 99 yards and score, and get out of there with a W. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for us. They played a great game. Backup quarterback came in, did an outstanding job. Not just managing the offense. He did a good job. We've played against him before, but he made some very good throws. We had some untimely penalties on some third downs that kept some drives alive. But they really got after us up front, and we got to figure out a way to keep our quarterback protected. But we got to find a way to get in the win column. We're gonna keep our message the same. We're not going to press the panic button, even though I know some people want to. We're not going to change, not discipline our players for missing class or missing the weight room. But we're going to keep things consistent, because that's what these young men need. And, we're going to one of my favorite places to play. I think if you go to Jackson State University and you go through pregame warm-ups, I don't think you need a coach to say anything to you, especially if they band march in while you stretch. Man, it is one of the greatest, in my opinion, environments to play a football game, and hopefully our team will be ready to go and play and get our first win.
Thank you, Coach. The floor is now open for Heishma Northern, head coach at Prairie View A&M.
How you doing, Coach? This is Mike Prince with the open mic.
I'm fine.
All right. Wanted to ask you a question. Noticed that Trey Green got some playing time back and forth. Was that just to kind of switch the rhythm up of the team, or was there an injury going on with Lovelock that we wasn't aware of?
Jerry is injured, but that we had already planned on playing Trey a little bit more. Trey, he's got some things that he's done well, maybe a little bit more athletic. Both of those guys missed some reads that, in my opinion, had they made just a proper read, we score a touchdown. So, we got to get some things cleaned up with both of those guys. Trey gets a chance to practice because of Jerry's class schedule, but he's got to be more consistent in practice. The most popular guy is always the second-string quarterback when you're, preseason offensive conference player of the year is struggling a little bit. But Trey does some things very well, but we still got to get him settled down. He did make some good throws. I was proud of him for that, but, he missed some things that, like I say, in my opinion, had we just taken some of the simple reads, we score a touchdown here that we should have had on the board. And it's the same thing with Jerry. We're going to simplify some things. We may have put a little bit too much on his plate. With us not having that extra day of practice, to be honest with you, I think it's hurting us a lot more than we thought it would. Having a veteran quarterback, a veteran center, some running backs that played a lot. And then, you're missing some guys, but at the end of the day, we keep on talking about next man up, and that next man up that's been complaining about not playing, he's got to show why he's a member of this football team, and he has a responsibility to the rest of those guys. But both of those guys will continue to play, and both of those guys have to play better.
Now, in all fairness, Coach, you made mention the next man up. You even had a pregame injury that was during the warm-ups.
I tell you what, man, I feel bad for that kid. We going through offense and defense line drills, and you have a young man that's down on the ground. I'm thinking he had an asthma attack, but unfortunately for us, he tore something in his leg, and he's apologizing and crying. On the field. I won't mention his name, but it's disheartening for that young man, and man, I look at our sideline, man, it looks like we have a crutch convention going on. But like I said, at the end of the day, the next man has to step up. We had another guy that probably would have played some more, but he broke a team rule and he had to sit out for discipline reasons, and we kept that discipline policy intact. And we're not going to change the way we discipline our guys just because another guy gets hurt. somebody else has to step up. And now I think young men will see that coach is serious about doing things the right way, whether it's the cafeteria, the weight room, and the classroom, whatever. We're still going to do things the right way, whether or not we won every game or we lost every game, whether or not somebody else gets hurt, somebody else gets this. We're going to do things the right way as long as I'm the head coach here at Prairie View.
All right, Coach. Now, you guys spread the ball out a lot. 9 different receivers touched the ball. But the player I'm checking on in particular is Nick Petrie. Is there any potential plans of getting him more touches during the course of the game?
Well, like I say, he was one of those young men that had a dismiss. He would have played more, no doubt about it. But like I say, he has to realize there's other things besides football while you're here at school at Prairie. But he's going to be a great player for us. He has been a good player for us. But at the same time, we think he can be better. But we will try to get the ball to him more. But at the same time, I think in our offense now, we have to spread the ball around to keep people from possibly doubling a Nick Petrie or Gabe Dunlap. We got to spread the ball around, make people players honest, and if they do decide to double somebody, then somebody else has to make the other team pay. But he's going to be good for us, but he's got some maturing to do, just like a lot of guys in this age group.
And you got to be pleased with the touches that Lockett was able to do to get some big gains during the course of that game on this week.
Yeah, the biggest thing we talked to our offensive line about, make everybody better. The offensive line has to make the running backs better, and the running backs, if they press their landmarks and don't try to make every play a 50-yard run, they're going to make the offensive line better. But he did a good job when he got the ball in his hand. Jonte did a good job. Ham did a good job. So we think we have a good rotation of running backs. We just got to get some more explosive plays. But all those guys, wide receivers and offensive line, have to make each other better.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any more questions for Heishma Northern? About 3 minutes left in his segment.
Coach Rosenblatt from the Clarion Ledger. Jackson State's a different team than what you faced last year. How do you prepare for a team that has a new coaching staff and a new quarterback?
Well, you just have to look at the film just like you would any team that brings in a new coaching staff. You try to get down the tendencies, the percentages. The film, you look at the personnel as well. They've always had outstanding personnel going back to whenever they probably started football over there. So, but right now we're trying to focus on schematically what they like to do and how do we attack it on the offensive, defense, and special team side. But, we know it's a tough place to play. They're going to have good players. And, the biggest thing that I talk to our guys about, Prairie View can't beat Prairie View. We can't keep giving the rabbit the gun and thinking we're going to come out successful at the end of the day. So we just have to go in and do our responsibility, pay attention to details. Like I say, with us not having that extra day of practice, guys have to do some film study on their own. They may have to, get the linebackers to get some guys out and have a walkthrough on their own to make sure everyone is on the same page. But playing against this offense, we got to make sure that we communicate well. And playing against, we're looking at more of a 3-4 type of defense. It creates different blocking angles for our offensive line, so we got to make sure that those guys communicate and communicate well.
Coach, you talked about having some upperclassmen on this particular team. Being 0-3 in the conference, what is the locker room like with those guys?
I think the guys are still upbeat, to be honest with you. You're going to have some guys that's still going to wait and see how things going to play out. We talk about our motto says all out, all game, all season. It doesn't say that it's going to be all out, all game, all season if we're 4-1 or 3-0 or whatever. It means regardless of record, you play to a certain standard. So our upperclassmen are still hanging in there battling, trying to pull some guys in. And the guys that don't want to be with us, like I said, I talked to them about being a cancer. Don't be that good guy that gets removed with the bad cancer. Just because if you're listening to that cancer talk in a locker room and you're not making them be quiet and say, hey, man, we don't need that right now, then you're just as bad as he is. So our attitudes are great. We've been having some good practices. Like I said, unfortunately, we don't have as many as everyone, but we're not going to make an excuse. We're going to fix our problems, and we're gonna keep playing hard football, and that's all that we can ask those young men to do. But our spirits are great, in my opinion. You know, sometimes I think they're too great after a loss, but at the end of the day, we're dealing with 18 through 22-year-olds that don't take it as hard as we do as coaches. But you know, we're gonna be fine from that aspect because we do have some genuine leaders for those guys to look up to.
Coach, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's Heishma Northern, head coach at Prairie View A&M. His team was defeated by Grambling State this past weekend. They're now 0-4 overall and 0-3 in league play. They will play at Jackson State for a 6 p.m. kickoff this coming Saturday. Next up on the call is Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University. His team failed at Alcorn State. They will play host to Arkansas at Pine Bluff for a 5:30 p.m. kickoff this coming Saturday. Southern is now 2-3 overall in the conference, and they are 1-1 in the SWAC. Good morning, Coach Odums. How are you? Okay, we're looking to get Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University, on the call. Again, guys, please remember to use the command.
Hello?
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Oh, doing great. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about the battle with Alcorn this past weekend and preview Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Well, we went up to Alcorn, and we started out well. We went through the first quarter there. We had a good football game going, and then things just didn't work out our way. We didn't play well enough to win that football game. They dominated third down. They dominated the rushing stats, and we weren't able to stay on the field enough on third down, and we didn't get off the field on third down. They had a good game plan. They executed very well, and that's what it came down to, was just execution. We forced some turnovers, but we weren't able to capitalize on them and get any points. They got an outstanding football team. Coach Hopson and his crew did a great job, and we were unfortunate. We just came up short in that football game, but we're moving on. We got homecoming this weekend. We play UAPB, who they got an outstanding quarterback that we're gonna have to deal with. The running backs are good. They do a great job on defense. We go play against a good football team that's just like us, just searching for that next victory, and that's what it's gonna come down to, is just execution and making sure you guys are ready to go.
Floor is open for Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University.
Hey, Coach Odums, I see Morrell at the Pine Bluff commercial. When you give up 682 yards to a team like Alcorn State, and now, like you say, you guys are just looking for that next victory, what concerns you the most going into the Pine Bluff game?
Well, they have a quarterback that's very good. We definitely going to have to focus on him, and, you got to try to corral him. He's a very good quarterback. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. You got to get off the field on third down. That's how you give up 600 yards, is that you obviously have to play a lot of snaps, and the way you prevent those snaps is getting off the field on third down.
Right.
Coach James Barrett from Cox Sports Television, how you doing this morning?
Oh, doing great.
How important is it to get a little bit more push from your defensive front, particularly in the first half of games, to get a fast start for your defense?
Well, I think it's important. I think it's very important that those guys play well up front. And I thought those guys in the first half, I thought they played pretty good football. But then when you come back and look at the film, you can see some of the mistakes that you made. And some of those guys are veteran players that should be making some of the mistakes that they're making. So, you just got to go back. One thing about us, we stay positive. It is what it is. You got beat. Now what you do from it. You either let it become who you are, or you get better from it and you learn from it and you move on. And one thing about this football team, they've always seemed to get better, and we'll just see what we can do, change some things up a little bit and see if we can get a little bit better.
Coach, with such a young team and its homecoming, how important is it to keep your guys focused, particularly for some of the young players who are going through a homecoming week for the first time?
Well, I think focus is one the key word there. We got to try to hope our veteran players, can corral those young guys. And a lot of young guys are playing for us. A lot of young guys are playing. It's just a matter of keeping them, make sure they understand that homecoming is for alumni. Once you graduate, then you can participate in homecoming. But the game is what you should have your mind on and get prepared for the game, and let all those other activities take care of themselves. There'll be a challenge for us trying to keep these guys in line, but we'll do the best we can.
Coach, how fragile is your quarterback depth right now?
Well, it's fragile. We lost. Shorts had to sit out Saturday. We hopefully get him back. I saw him this morning. He was working out. He said he felt a lot better. So, some of it's just rest. We're trying to get to that bye week in the best shape as possible with this football team, so we can get that much needed rest. That'll be 7 games in a row. So, that much needed bye is coming. So we just gotta somehow hold up until we can get to that bye. But he felt better this morning, and I hope he continues to get better this week.
Coach, this is IC again. From what Coach Coleman was saying, when he looked at video of you guys seem to be a run-first football team. But you guys only had 112 rushing yards against Alcorn State. How much did Alcorn have to do with that? And do you have a run-first philosophy?
Well, I think they had a lot to do with it. I think the score took away the opportunity to just try to run the football. And, same way, which when they got up, it probably gave them more opportunities to run the football. So, I think we want to be balanced. We got receivers, but, again, we got receivers that are injured. So that position is lacking. And then we got running backs that are injured. So that position is lacking. So, and then you got a true freshman quarterback. So what you try to do is, you try to run the football to take pressure off of him and keep him out of situations where he got to go make plays, and then you end up making mistakes. So, but I think the good thing about it is we're going to slowly start to get some of our big play guys back, and that's why I was saying the other day, I think going down the stretch, we'll start to see a different football team. We are down some guys, but we're starting to slowly get some of those guys back, and, we hope to get a few this week, a few next week, get into the bye week, get a few more, and then we'll see how this thing work itself out.
Gotcha.
Coach, your defensive back, Brian Anderson, when you recruited him, did he have a knack for getting to the football, or is this something that he's developed since he's been on campus?
Oh, no, he played for one of the better programs in the state of Louisiana in the car, and when you watch him on film, he played the same way. He loves playing football. He has big play capabilities, and we're excited for him. He's a true freshman. He makes some alignment mistakes. He makes mistakes, but he go hard, and that's what we like about him. And having the young guys to play now is only gonna make us better, because the guys that are out are veterans. So once we get those veterans back and the young guys done had some game experience, we just got to keep the boat sailing in the right direction, and it's gonna slowly start to turn. But he's an exciting football player, and we're glad to have him on our football team.
Are you surprised that the young players have kept a positive attitude despite the losses?
Well, it's just part of our program. I'm positive. I think that's where it starts. It starts with the leader. I stay positive. I told them, after the game, we ain't kicking over ice buckets and telling them, hey, we lost. The only way you can get better from it is first you must admit it, and then you move on. And that's what I told them. Hold your heads up high. There's a lot of football left to be played. We got a game next week, and that's our job. We're going to focus on that. We're going to come to work on Monday, and we're going to try to do our best we can to go win that football game. And that's how we approach things. And I think that approach is a pass down to those guys.
Coach, when you look at Anderson, the quarterback for Pine Bluff, is it possible to make him one-dimensional, or do you want to just try to contain his talent?
Well, it's a headache when you watch him on film, because you can think you got him contained, you can think you got him corralled, and all of a sudden he comes out. The best thing you can do is make sure you got eyes on him and just try to tackle him when you get to him. He has big play capabilities, and you see it. He can make it with his arm or his feet. So what you try to do is make sure we do a good job of keeping eyes on him.
Coach, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Oh, thank you all. Have a blessed day.
That's Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University. His team fell to Alcorn State this past weekend. As a result, they're 2-3 overall, 1-1 in conference play. They host Arkansas in Pine Bluff for a 5:30 p.m. kickoff. Next up on the call, we head to Texas Southern University, whose team fell to Alabama State. And Darrell Asbury, his team, will host Mississippi Valley State for a 7 p.m. kickoff. Texas Southern is now 4-1 overall and 2-1 in the league. Good morning, Coach Asbury.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about your road trip this past week at Alabama State and talk about hosting Mississippi Valley State this Saturday.
Well, I thought we had a long trip, but I thought that Alabama State has a real good football team. I take my hats off to Coach Barlow and his staff. They do a real good job of getting their guys ready to play. Saturday, I thought our defense played well, only holding them to about 3 field goals and a touchdown the first half. Offensively, we just, we didn't get going offensively for whatever reason, and I take full responsibility for that. Being an offensive coach, didn't really get going special team wise. We didn't get any punch blocked or anything, but we still didn't get our guys in position to use our weapons special team wise. So again, my hat's off to Alabama State for their victory. But I said in the beginning with this football team, I was very confident coming in that we would get to them 4-0. It was just a matter of what would we do once we got to them, and the results was 38-3, if I'm not mistaken. Coming into this week, we have Mississippi Valley, which Coach Comegy always finds a way to win. He has a great coaching staff. Last year, the game went down to the wire against them, and I expect them to come in fighting, trying to get a win down here in Houston, Texas.
The floor is now open for Darrell Asbury, head coach at Texas Southern.
Coach Andrew Roberts here. Talk a little bit about your team has 4 of the remaining 6 games at home. Just talk a little bit about wrapping up the last half of the season with most of the games in your own backyard.
Well, I think it'll be great. If we can get through this week here, we get a bye week, and then we're on the road one more time, and then the last games are here at home. I think it's great for the fans to come out and continue to watch this football team grow. We're still a young football team, and I think it's a plus for us to be at home where you can have your support, the 12th man, what they say in football, cheering you on to victory and finding a way to win. So I think it's a great feeling to be able to play at home. I would like to say this to the officials. I thought they did a great job. I give credit where credit is due. They did a great job this past week. I wish I could